The Socratic method, properly used, is a means of educating the student by asking the student questions.
It's asking questions designed to show that things are more complicated than they are.
The professor asks you a question, you answer the question, the professor asks you the next question. And it's a way of unrolling the doctrine through a series of questions rather than just spoon-feeding it to you.
The Socratic method requires both the student and the professor to be prepared to engage in a series of questions, answers, hypotheticals, comparing and contrasting, things that we're seeing and reading and talking about with the next possible case.
The cases are just the grist for the mill. The professor asks open-ended questions that are designed to get us to look at the commonalities in the cases until we develop the ability to see the patterns and the common threads that emerge from looking at many, many examples.
Most of the dialogue is about figuring out what the questions are that help you understand why that would be the rule, why maybe something else is the rule in a different case. Where do we go from there? And the hope is that through that process of dialogue, they then learn to go through the same steps by themselves in their own analysis. You lead the student through a set of questions and answers through which the student comes to understand what is weak about the answer that he originally gave. Not necessarily that the answer is wrong. One of the most important things that you learn through Socratic teaching is that every answer, even the right answer, has weaknesses. You can always ask more questions. A good lawyer knows what the weaknesses in his own answers are.
It's an intimidating process. You're being put on the spot to see how bright, articulate, your critical thinking skills, all these things we're evaluating are going on in class.
It's not comfortable for anybody, but it is useful to sort of learn how to think and speak on your feet.
It's a laboratory, and I'm part of the process. The other students in the class learn from my mistakes and learn from my input. If students understand that, then they can go with the flow and realize that they're simply part of the process. Students get preoccupied with how do I appear to my peers. Many of us have tapes in our own head and ghosts in our own head of how am I appearing to whatever standard I've set for myself. And it's really internal judging.
The fear is just a figment of your own, consciousness. It's not real because it doesn't matter. You're not going to get docked because you sound, like you're fumbling over yourself, or it takes you an extra few seconds to find the holding of a case, or you misunderstood the reasoning, or you thought that the dissent was the concurrence, or what. So what? So what?
What does matter is, am I understanding this case in the way that the professor sees the case? You should be learning from the experience, not succeeding in demonstrating that you've already mastered the material.